Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan back here with another grounded video. So we've done a little bit of a discussion with these special arrows, right? So we've got the salty, the mint, and the spicy, and they deal the specific damage that these insects are weak to. But are they effective? Let's see what it takes to make them, because they're pretty expensive to make them, and I've already got my bias against them. So it takes 5 arrows, 5 feather arrows, and 2 shards of each. Or 2 shards for salt to make the salt arrows, and 1 shard of each of the mint and spicy shards to make those ones. So are they effective, though? That's our question here. So we've got a few of them. You can see our inventory. We've got 10 salty, 10 minty, and 9 spicy. We've got 10 feather arrows. We're a little low on feathers right now, so that's one of the big drawbacks to making these arrows, is that they do take 5 feather arrows away from them. Now, they are going to revert back to feather arrows once they get used, but is the damage that they do with the enhancements on them, is it actually worth it? So for that, we're going to test it out. So let's go find some insects that are weak to each of these, and we're going to see if these do indeed actually do a lot more damage. Because if that's the case, then it may help out with some of those players that like to use the bow and arrow or play the archer class. So we're going to go see if we can find an orb weaver, because obviously spicy is strong against spiders. So let's go ahead and switch over. I want to make sure I don't waste these arrows. So we got our spicy arrow on, and we have our, this is a level 7 mighty insect bow. Now, let's take that off. Take that off. Take that off. I'm not going to use any extra damage with these. So we're going to fire 1 feather arrow. We're going to look at the damage that it does. Then we're going to fire 1 of these special arrows and compare the two. So this way we take coup de grace off, so we're not getting any tainted data in terms of just straight damage. See if we can find one. I just killed a couple over here because I was waiting for the crow to see if he would drop a feather, and he didn't. So we're going to come over here. Drop in there. Here we go, right here. So we have a spicy arrow right here. See, that does, let's say, a little over 20% health. Now we go with our regular feather arrow, as he just took off. Maybe it burned his butt or something. Let's see what we get just from a regular feather arrow. Not that much of a difference. We do know that spiders are weak to spicy, so I'm gonna say with the spicy arrows, it didn't seem like that much of a difference. And that was with no added bonus, no coup de grace or anything like that on either one. So now let's see, what can we find that's weak? We know what's weak to salty, but fresh, we got a bombardier beetle right here who's fresh to the mint. So let's check that out. Switch over to our minty arrow after we get our bow. Oh, here we go. Let's see mint damage. Alright, you saw that. Let's go back to feather. Not really noticing a huge difference. So personally, I didn't see a huge difference there with the mint arrows against the bombardier beetle. Honestly, it looks like the feather arrow just does the same amount of damage, if not just a little bit less. So I'm really not seeing the benefits, especially with the way the arrows sometimes fall through the world. I don't really know if it's a viable option to be using these special arrows. Maybe in a more closed-in environment against a boss like the Broodmother or something like that, you would want to use spicy arrows just to get that extra damage. But when you get into the Broodmother fight, you're basically going to be getting attacked from her like straight off the bat, and she's going to be in your face the majority of the time. A couple of times you might be able to get some arrows off, but I really don't think the spicy arrows are going to do enough damage to necessitate using those on a regular basis. And similarly to the, you could say the assistant manager with salty arrows, that might be an option as well, because you can fight him a little farther away. But again, I don't see that drastic of a difference in the damage from one feather arrow to one of the special arrows. So we're going to get over here to the sandbox and find an antlion to try these salty arrows out on. So we'll be right back once we get over there. Alright, so we're over here at the sandbox. Let's go ahead and drop in and see if we can get an antlion to try these out on. I really don't want to fight the antlion. There we go. Let's see. Make sure he's not going to come up here. And he is. Awesome. Okay. Well, now that he destroyed my ladder up there, let's go ahead and make sure we switch to the spice or the salty arrow. Here we go. See if we can't get one to pop out over here. All right. So that did, I'd say about 18% damage. I hit the ant. Now let's go back to the regular feather arrows. Again, I'm just not seeing that big of a difference in damage from one to the other to necessitate using these arrows on a regular basis. So I mean, we tried the salty, we tried the minty, we tried the spicy against enemies that are weak to those types of damage, and I really did not see that drastic of a difference between any of them against the feather arrows themselves. So at this point, like I already had my bias about the fact of using them. Again, maybe if you're going against a broodmother or the assistant manager with regards to spicy and salty. But I really don't think with the cost of the arrows themselves being five feather arrows, just for that extra maybe 2 to 3% of damage from each base hit. So until we can get something, maybe here's an idea that I would think would be more effective. If we were to use these arrows like this, if they did a damage over time, like if it did salty damage over time to where it was going to tick down the enemy's health, then I could see them be a lot more useful. But as it stands right now, I'm going to stick with my feather arrows because I still think that extra little 2 or 3% of damage that you're getting from the enchantment, or so to say, on it isn't going to be worth the cost of making the arrows themselves. So that's the final verdict. I would not recommend using these arrows. If you guys want to, then more power to you. But I'm going to stick with my feather arrows and then take them down from there. So that's all we got for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps us out. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Stay original, my friends. Later.